Imagine, if you will, a simple rag doll. Innocent, harmless, right? Now add a name to it, Annabelle. The year was 1970, a time when bell-bottom jeans were in fashion, and vinyl records were spinning on every turntable. In the hustle and bustle of a quaint antique shop, a doll caught the eyes of two nursing students. It wasn't particularly beautiful or unique, but there was something about it that drew them in. They decided to purchase it, unaware of the reality that lay beneath its ragged exterior. As the days turned into weeks, the doll started to exhibit strange behavior. At first, it was subtle, a slight change in the doll's position, an unexplained movement from one room to another. The students dismissed it, attributing it to forgetfulness or a slip of memory. But as the incidents increased, so did their unease. Then one day they returned home to find the doll in a completely different apartment. It was as if it had grown legs and wandered off on its own. But dolls don't walk, do they? Late one night, a chilling event occurred that shook them to their core. They woke up to the sound of soft whispers, seemingly coming from the doll. As they approached it, the whispers grew louder, echoing in the silent night. The whispers weren't just random sounds, they were uttering their names. They stood frozen, their blood running cold. It was then they realized that this was no ordinary doll. The students tried to rationalize it, to find a logical explanation. But how do you explain the unexplainable? How do you reason with something that defies reason itself? The doll, Annabelle, had become a source of fear and terror. Its glassy eyes seemed to hold an eerie intelligence, its stitched smile a chilling foreboding. Little did they know their innocent purchase was far from a simple child's toy. It was something much more sinister. As time wore on, the doll's actions escalated from the peculiar to the downright terrifying. Imagine waking up to find notes written in a child's handwriting, scattered around your home, pleading for help. This was the reality for the students who owned Annabelle. The notes, while unsettling, were just the beginning. The doll seemed to have a mind of its own, moving from room to room, showing up in places it was never left, as if it was trying to communicate something. One day, a close friend of the students came to visit. He was skeptical about their stories of the doll, dismissing them as mere flights of fancy. To prove his point, he dared to provoke Annabelle, demanding proof of her supernatural abilities. What happened next was something he would never forget. As the friend turned to leave, he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his chest. Upon lifting his shirt, he discovered distinct claw marks, raw and red, as if scratched by an unseen hand. But let's delve into a tale that, while not documented, adds another layer of dread to the Annabelle saga. Picture a quiet city, plunged into chaos by a series of unexplained accidents. Vehicles swerving to avoid collisions with nothing. Fires breaking out in empty buildings, animals behaving erratically. The common thread? A certain raggedy doll found at each location, her button eyes seeming to hold a secret. The city lived in fear, never knowing where Annabelle would turn up next or what calamity she would bring. The doll's owners were at a loss. They had hoped for a simple, playful spirit, but they were dealing with something much darker. Annabelle was not a toy. She was not a child trapped in a doll's body. She was a malevolent entity, cunning and deceptive, causing fear and harm to those around her. These were no longer harmless pranks, they were signs of a malevolent entity. This was not just a doll, this was Annabelle, a name that would come to be synonymous with fear and the inexplicable. Enter Ed and Lorraine Warren, renowned paranormal investigators, drawn to the chilling tale of the doll named Annabelle. The Warrens, a couple whose names have become synonymous with the paranormal, were no strangers to the inexplicable and the eerie. However, even for them, the case of Annabelle was something exceptionally chilling. They were pulled into this enigma when the mysterious happenings surrounding the doll escalated to a level that could no longer be ignored. The Warrens began their investigation, their every sense alert to the malevolent energy that seemed to cling to the doll. Their discovery was as shocking as it was terrifying. The doll was not just haunted, it was infested by a demon. This was no restless spirit tied to a beloved toy. This was a dark entity, a powerful force that had found its vessel in the form of Annabelle. Now let's delve into an event that is not widely known. During the course of their investigation, there was a night that the Warrens would never forget. A night that solidified their belief in the formidable force they were dealing with. It was a stormy evening, the wind howling outside like a pack of wild beasts. Suddenly the temperature dropped drastically. They turned to see Annabelle sitting innocuously on a chair. but there was a shift, a flicker in her glassy eyes. It was as if the doll was looking back at them. The room plunged into darkness, and when the lights flickered back, Annabelle was no longer on the chair. She was found later in another room, her porcelain face turned towards the door as if waiting. This encounter sent shivers down their spine, confirming their worst fears. The Warrens were not dealing with a mere haunted doll. This was a demonic entity, a force that was far more powerful and malevolent than anything they had ever encountered. The Warrens knew they were dealing with a force more powerful than they had ever encountered. The story of Annabelle was far from over, and the Warrens were just beginning to understand the magnitude of the terror they were up against. You'd think the story ends here with the doll safely locked away. But oh, how wrong you would be. Even confined within the glass case at the Warrens Museum, Annabelle's sinister influence has not been silenced. Visitors have reported eerie feelings of unease, cold spots around the display, and inexplicable electronic malfunctions. Now let's delve into a chilling event that unfolded recently. A scoffing visitor who dared to mock Annabelle left the museum only to be plagued by a series of unfortunate events. His car broke down, his home was riddled with inexplicable power outages, and he even claimed to have seen the doll's reflection in his mirror late at night. These strange occurrences, whether coincidental or not, serve as a chilling reminder of the doll's eerie presence. So, remember, the next time you come across an innocent-looking doll in an antique shop, think twice, for it might just be Annabelle waiting for her next unsuspecting victim.